It's a privilege and honor for me to be here today. Actually, the day of this event came out very good. I always look forward, Colonel, Executive Director, as you know, to come up for the holidays a few times a year. I come up here and we have meetings in the Colonel's office with the Lieutenant Colonels discussing holiday details, and it also gives me an opportunity to share our holidays, and I take great pride in that. So you saved me a trip. On the contrary side of it, there were a lot of rabbis that were waiting for this date, and they really wanted to come to show their gratification and appreciation. But being that the Shavuos holiday starts on Friday, it made it impossible for them to attend because of traveling arrangements overseas. However, we are fortunate enough, and I'm fortunate to have my co-rabbis and chief rabbis from New York who made the trek all the way from New York. They came in today for a few hours, and you'll hear from them soon. Of course, I would be remiss if I would not thank Rabbi Oirichman and his wife that works for him, right? You have a good pension? And Rabbi Oirichman, thank you very much. I know I always call upon you about different things and from down south, and I appreciate everything you've done, and I could not have done it without you. Thank you. Before I go further, I'd like to take a stab at Elizabeth, Denmark. Thank you so much for all these years and for constantly calling you and bothering you. And I don't know how you do your job. It's a tough job. I appreciate everything that you do. Thank you so much. And of course, Executive Director Terry, it's a pleasure working with you. Your sincere sensitivity to our rituals and our things that we sometimes ask for is very kind of you, and we could tell that you do it with so much sincerity. So thank you. You guys must probably wonder, you see all these papers and you're thinking, how long is this speech going to be, right? I'll give you a little hint. There was once a rabbi who gave a speech every Sabbath in his synagogue for 10 minutes. Every week it took him exactly 10 minutes. After a few months, his congregants went over to him and said, Rabbi, how do you figure out that your speech should only take 10 minutes, not 9, not 11, not 10 and a half, 10 minutes? He said, well, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not doing anything special, and there is no special remedy or figuration to it. I prepare the speech while I walk from my home to the synagogue, and it takes me 10 minutes to walk from my home to the synagogue, so I know that the speech is going to take me 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, it took me 7 hours to drive from Miami to Tallahassee. All right, now that I got everybody smiling, they say if there is no humor, there is no human. So now that we got everybody smiling, I'm going to be very brief to the point, because that's the way FHP works, military style, right? Say what you have to say and you move on. So I'm going to do just that. So just on a personal note, I'd like to take a minute or two to elaborate on the prudence, insight, and benevolence of Colonel Brierton on behalf of Chesed Shelemes and the Jewish community as a whole. There is a saying among the sages of Israel, B'makam she'ein ish, which means where there is no person to take control of a situation, stand up and be that person. Colonel Brierton, our sages would be very proud of you. When the Jewish communities of Florida needed understanding, you stood up and arranged a training seminar for all troopers to understand the details of Jewish culture and Jewish burials, which became a model for other agencies. When the Jewish community asked for comfort, you stood up and offered reassurance that your troopers would work with Chesed Shelemes in providing that comfort and consolation, bridging agencies, and minimizing prolonged grief. When the Jewish community needed a hand, you were there with an arm, placing holiday detail and safety when requested, when needed. Colonel Brierton, you made our communities feel respected, protected, and esteemed. In today's precarious times. You were the breath of fresh air and the one who stood up. Thank you so much, Colonel Brierton. Because of who you are and who you represent to the structure of CSC, of Chesed Shel Emes, rest assured that the seeds you planted will continue to blossom and will only strengthen the bond between Chesed Shel Emes, the Jewish community, and the Florida Highway Patrol. You will always be admired and appreciated in our communities, and it is with a united heart that we wish you, your wife, Deborah, your mother, who's with us today, and your children, a continued life of health and happiness. Thank you.